deliberations on ideas, practices, and our research cultures. The idea is that these discussions will cover the entire range from fundamentals of science and research to every aspect of applications, all with a deep and rooted connection to our societies and the challenges they face today. The VAIBHAV initiative aims to bring out a comprehensive roadmap to leverage the extraordinary talent, expertise, and knowledge of researchers in India and the Indian diaspora to collaborate to address and solve key problems the world faces today for India and for the whole world. These include access to education of quality, water, sanitation, employment in a changing world, health, etc. Doing all of this while addressing issues of climate change, conserving biodiversity, and ensuring development is sustainable. These are all areas where our working together will bring success to all of humanity. This approach is the core of all of science and technology and research which India does. If there is one wealth that grows by giving, it is the wealth of knowledge. All of you are the wealth India has given to the world, and we are very proud of you, and we are proud to see this wealth growing. Indeed, for thousands of years, India has exported its best and brightest ideas and its people all over the world. Gautam Buddha, Swami Vivekananda, Srinivasa Ramanujan, and thousands of others have contributed to the world of ideas and have stimulated change all over the world. Today's gathering, amongst whom are the brightest and the best of Indian science and our diaspora, continues in that tradition. VAIBHAV will provide a framework for collaboration between international academia with Indian roots and our own scientists, and will pave the way for advancement in the quest for knowledge through scientific research. There are already numerous initiatives of the Government of India to partner with researchers from abroad. It is time to build on these strong foundations and create a new ecosystem of knowledge and innovation for the world and for India through global outreach. The current pandemic highlights more than ever the need for such a renewal. VAIBHAV brings together leaders from various fields who will discuss deeply on their subjects and identify potential areas of collaboration. They will also provide a roadmap for collaboration for India and your countries to partner for mutual benefit. This month-long VAIBHAV event will involve over 1,500 participants from over 40 countries. They will interact across 18 different main areas and over 81 sub-areas with more than 210 sessions. The event will culminate on Sardar Patel's Jayanti on October 31st. During this inaugural event of the VAIBHAV Summit, you will hear a briefing from a set of scientists from the Indian diaspora, followed by an inaugural speech by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Before that, we will now have a short movie clip on science in India, after which I will be back to continue the program with briefing from our panelists from the world over.
श्रियः प्रसूते विपदः रुणद्धि यशांसि दुग्धे मलिनं प्रमाष्ट्री संस्कार सौधेन परम पुनीते शुद्धा हि बुद्धिः किल कामधेनु. History stands testimony to India being the fulcrum of advancement of knowledge for the entire world. Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, Vallabhi, Sompura, Jagadala, Odantapuri, and Pushpagiri Vishwavidyalayas. These centers of learning had attracted scholars from around the world. The vision of legendary teachers like Sushruta, Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, Brahmagupta, and Panini laid the foundation of a culture of scientific curiosity, research, and innovation. Cutting across to the 20th century, researchers made significant contributions to modern science and technology. Major strides in agriculture, energy harvesting, communication, soft computing, biotechnology, and space technologies saw the emergence of an evolving India. While there is need to focus on developing an environment conducive to research and innovation, the foundation of building a scientifically superior India lies in continuously enhancing and uplifting its academic ecosystem. the reformative new education policy restructures education in India with emphasis on practical learning approach and focus on R&D. This is India's journey to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Government of India has launched various schemes promoting science and innovation. Atal Tinkering Labs under Atal Innovation Mission. Manak, Million Minds Augmenting National Aspiration and Knowledge. E-Vidya Scheme under Digital Education Program. Sathi Institutes. Mega Facilities for Basic Research. Internet of Things Research. Aspire, a scheme for promotion of innovation, rural industries and entrepreneurship. Tide, technology incubation and development entrepreneurs. Device development, biomedical devices, technology development programs on manufacturing. And high-risk, high-reward research scheme are firm steps to build a strong R&D base in the country. Initiatives on cyber-physical systems, digital India and major missions on quantum technologies, nano and supercomputing missions are the stepping stones towards advanced technologies development in India.
The growth story of India depends on its success in the science and technology sector. There is a need to transform the landscape of Indian science, technology and innovation.
Government of India has always recognized the emotional bonds of Pravasi Bharatiyas to their roots. VAIBHAV 2020 welcomes overseas and Indian participants to this knowledge-sharing platform for building a vibrant R&D framework in India. VAIBHAV inauguration will be followed by a month-long virtual deliberation sessions among researchers from 3rd to 25th October. A concluding session will be held on 31st October on Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Jayanti to create a way forward. The verticals at the summit will be championed by the leading academic and research institutions in India and by overseas experts. VAIBHAV Summit, synergizing minds to make India a research hub for global development.
Dhanyavad. Pradhan Mantri ji, beginning shortly, 16 scientists from across the world will speak for 2 minutes each, giving their vision for research, each from their unique perspective. I will call out their names, introduce them, and I request each one of them to keep to their allotted time. First, Professor Arogyaswamy Paulraj. His pioneering innovation and research work made webinars like VAIBHAV possible. Arogyaswamy Paulraj invented the multiple input, multiple output technology that made high-speed Wi-Fi and 4G phones possible. He was awarded the Marconi Prize in 2014 and his contributions to the field of communications, and in 2010, India conferred on him the Padma Bhushan. Mr. Paulraj served in the Indian Navy, and after which he joined Stanford University, where he is currently Professor Emeritus. Sir, the floor is yours for the next 2 minutes. Professor Arogyaswamy Paulraj. You can't hear him, is it?
ICT supports every important vertical, from economic, like banking and retail, societal, like social media and healthcare, and security, like defense and cyber. ICT has different layers, applications that we all use, and then services provided by operators, and finally the crucial core ICT layer, which designs and manufactures equipment from phones and laptops to wireless base stations and cloud data centers. These equipment heavily depend on semiconductor chip technology. The 5G technology now in the news is also a part of core ICT. Core ICT is crucial both from its direct value, but it's also the base for other vital technologies like aerospace, energy, advanced manufacturing. And that is why the United States is extremely worried by China's rapid rise in core ICT. So core ICT is annually a $1.7 trillion global industry with about $300 billion R&D. It is dominated by companies headquartered in a few countries like the US, China, East Asia, and Europe. The industry is largely in the private sector. No country, including the United States, is self-reliant. The smartphone that we all use has technology perhaps from 7 countries and over 70 companies. Despite 30 years of trying, Indian companies have not been able to enter this industry. Our share is probably less than 0.1% of global. This creates vulnerabilities like import bills, denial of technology, and cybersecurity. But the good news, Honorable Prime Minister, is that India can become a core ICT power and in time even challenge China. I have very good evidence for that. A 10-year target for India in core ICT might be 5% share of global revenue. But even this means expanding our current base by hundreds of times. Unfortunately, in my view, our current governmental structures are not designed to deliver this. We clearly need an empowered commission under the Prime Minister's office. I had visited India several times in 2019 to meet the PMO, and also Honorable Prime Minister presented to you in December last year. Full details of the commission are with Dr. Rajiv Kumar of Niti Aayog, and he can process the case for approval. Our Professor Vijay Raghavan, PSA on the call, is also familiar. Since core ICT is so crucial for India's economy, security, and indeed international influence, I plead that we create this commission immediately. And if I may also suggest that it be chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister himself. It will give it the priority it deserves and help fulfill your vision, Honorable Prime Minister, of Atmanirbhar Bharat in this very crucial sector. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thank you, Professor Paul Raj. We now have Professor Muthu Pandey Ashok Kumar, a pioneer in the field of solar chemistry. Professor Ashok Kumar is currently Assistant Deputy Vice Chancellor at International University of Melbourne. His research interest leads to studying functional properties of dairy ingredients and efficient diagnostic and therapeutic medicines. I now invite Professor Ashok Kumar to share his thoughts.
Namaste, Prime Minister. Respected Honorable Prime Minister, it is a great honor for me, sir, to share my thoughts at this VAIBHAV 2020 summit with you and the Indian community. I would like to highlight 2 potential initiatives that would put India at the forefront of research and higher education. In terms of research excellence, India should consider establishing centers of excellence with global partners. For example, International Center of Excellence for Food Processing Technology, Artificial Intelligence, etc. Indian origin academics who are the experts in these research fields could bring their academic institutions as partners to these centers. This will help India to become the global leader in major research initiatives. Industries should also be involved. Major global issues such as global warming, water management, food security, cybersecurity, and health-related research could be considered for this initiative. Many academic institutions in India have established such special research centers. It is a matter of supporting these centers to grow them into globally leading centers. In terms of higher education leadership, using the new National Education Policy Initiative, co-developed courses in par with international standards could be offered by involving Indian origin academics. For example, I have been involved with the University of Pune to develop BSc blended program. The curriculum has been jointly developed by the University of Melbourne, SPPU or the University of Pune, IISER Pune, IISER Tirupati. Such programs will provide globally recognized degrees for Indian students within India and will also promote influx of international students to India for higher education studies. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for giving me this great opportunity to express my thoughts to you and to the Indian community. I also pledge that I am available to serve our country in any capacity to promote India's global leadership in research and higher education. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is a top innovator from the field of mechanical engineering. Professor Sridhar Kota is the Herrick Professor of Engineering at the University of Michigan, and his research is leading to revolutionary changes in aircraft wing design, which are far more efficient and leads to better fuel efficiency. Professor Kota has been the advisor at the White House with President Obama for developing policy on manufacturing. Professor Kota.
Namaskar, Prime Minister Ji. Thank you for your vision and leadership in launching the VAIBHAV initiative to advance Indian education, scientific research, and entrepreneurship. Investment in scientific research is critical, but to create national wealth and economic growth requires technological innovation, which is transforming promising discoveries and inventions into new products made in India. Manufacturing creates national wealth for any nation. It creates jobs and promotes social equity. It is truly an opportune time to work towards making India a global destination for advanced manufacturing. To reach that goal, India should do in the hardware sector what it did in the software sector. For instance, leveraging its strengths in software sector, India has a unique opportunity to build next-generation machine tools and smart manufacturing processes by integrating IT tools such as data analytics and machine learning to improve manufacturing quality and productivity. Innovation and manufacturing are intricately linked. One fuels the other through learning by doing. Investment in knowledge infrastructure and state-of-the-art physical infrastructure lays the foundation for engineering skills needed to establish indigenous industries of the future, whether it is photonics or biomedical devices or clean energy technologies. For instance, electric vehicles sector presents an immediate opportunity. Advances in research, development, and manufacturing of electric vehicles alone could have ripple effects across the broader national innovation ecosystem and domestic supply chains. Finally, promoting a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship is important. This can be done by redoubling regional innovation hubs at universities or by launching national prize competitions to solve specific national challenges. VAIBHAV initiative offers Indian diaspora an opportunity to contribute to scientific advances and economic prosperity of its motherland. Thanks to the organizing committee for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this initiative. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Professor Kota. We now have Professor Anupama Prakash, who is the Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor of the University of Alaska at Fairbanks. She is a geoinformation science expert internationally recognized for her research in underground coal mine fires. Professor Prakash has a PhD in Earth Sciences from the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, and she earned a master's and bachelor's degrees from Lucknow University, India. Professor Anupama Prakash.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम अनुपमा प्रकाश है और मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ अलास्का फेयरबैंक्स की प्रोवोस्ट और एग्जीक्यूटिव वाइस चांसलर हूँ। ये अमेरिका की नॉर्दर्न मोस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी है और हम यहाँ ग्लोबल क्लाइमेट चेंज रिसर्च पर फोकस करते हैं। इसके अलावा हम सिखाते हैं कि नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज जैसे कि मिनरल्स, तेल, पानी, ऊर्जा, इन्हें कैसे सींचा जाए और प्रयोग किया जाए, जिससे कि एक ओर हम आवश्यकताओं को पूरा कर सकें और दूसरी ओर हम अपने पर्यावरण को सुरक्षित रख सकें। इस उद्देश्य को पूरा करने के लिए हम एडवांस डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजीज जैसे सैटेलाइट रिमोट सेंसिंग, अनमैन्ड एरियल सिस्टम्स, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इक्विपमेंट और बहुत सारी ऐसी एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजीज को यूज करते हैं और साथ ही साथ हम लोकल नॉलेज दोनों का प्रयोग करते हैं। हम विषय ज्ञान के साथ विद्यार्थियों को अनिवार्य स्किल्स भी सिखाते हैं जो कि बहुत जरूरी है। जैसे कि critical thinking, problem solving, cultural sensitivity और decision making skills. महात्मा गांधी ने कई वर्ष पूर्व enough for everyone's needs, but not enough for everyone's greed. और ये प्रिंसिपल हम आज भी अपने विद्यार्थियों को यहाँ सिखाते हैं. मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि भारत की नई एजुकेशन का पॉलिसी भी रिसर्च और क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग दोनों पर ही फोकस कर रही है, और हम तो हमेशा ही तत्पर हैं किसी भी तरह से अपने समाज को मदद करने के लिए. थैंक यू प्राइम मिनिस्टर.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर प्रकाश. We now move to Professor Subramanian Rangan, who is a professor in the area of strategy and management at INSEAD, France. His students fondly call him Subi, and they voted him as the best teacher thrice and nominated him for the award as many times. Mr. Rangan is a globally renowned expert on transnational enterprises. Professor Rangan.
It's very important for them to be productive. And for them to be productive, technology is very important, and mastering the science and pioneering the science that underlies that technology is what we've been hearing. But Honorable Prime Minister, I have one important addition to make. While technology is so important, we see that without trust, technology does not get us far. We have seen other countries that have invested so much in technology, including artificial intelligence and space, but when you are not trusted, then people cannot invest in India and people will not make in India. So my dream is to have us trust in India. Now, decades ago, our predecessors invested in the IIT, the Indian Institute of Technology. And today I would plead with you to again, with the same rigor, invest in the complementary IIT, which is the Indian Institutes of Trust. You see, we can buy technology. We can make partnerships on technology. But trust, we must build. We must make trust in India. And unfortunately, when we look at the ratings of Indian companies, the evaluations outside India, India is very low on trust today. And you know this as much as I do, especially with partner countries like the United States. And even in the United States, trust in India is behind Mexico and Brazil and China. And this is not going to work for the future. I think it's so crucial that we start now to think, even as we invest in technology, if we want, for example, AI to become BI, artificial intelligence to become beneficial intelligence, then the question is not technology, but the technologist. And if we are not educating that technologist on character, on trustworthiness, so even as we build cyber capital, we should build moral capital. This requires attention. The research on trust, Honorable Prime Minister, is not very great. Outside India, it's not great. And even within India, there is fantastic scope. From industrialists such as Ratan Tata to professional business leaders like Indira Nooyi or today Satya Nadella, we have incredible people who have shown us that they can do business with trust and they can create a brand for India that is not just incredible India, but credible India. And you have heard all of this. My own research is in this area as a professor of business. What I try and teach our students is how to create a world where performance can go with progress. Performance will give us that productivity, and we need science and technology, but for progress, we need trust and morality. And this area of research should be taken step by step with this so that we don't end up in the same situation as other countries which have built great technology, including on 5G, but today which are blocked all over the world because there is no trust. And if we want to have families come and live in India and invest in India, and if India should be export leader, then I think working on this is an equal and important priority. Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Professor Rangan. We now move to Dr. Swadhin Behera, who works on climate research. He is from Behrampur University and is currently the director of the application lab at the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology. Professor Behera.
मैं इस अवसर के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी और वैभव आयोजक की आभारी हूं। मैंने महासागर और जलवायु में अनुसंधान किया है। मुझे लगता है कि आम आदमियों की जीवन की गुणवत्ता के सुधार के लिए और कोविड-19 जैसे महामारी तथा प्राकृतिक आपदाओं के कम करने के लिए इस क्षेत्र में मेरे क्षेत्र में किए गए अनुसंधान की प्रयोग करने की काफी संभावनाएं है। हम लोगों ने ये प्रयोग किया है और इस प्रयोग से हम मलेरिया जैसे बीमारी का अर्ली वार्निंग भी किया है। गंभीर महासागरों तथा ध्रुवीय क्षेत्रों में संसाधनों की पता लगाने और भविष्य की जलवायु की समझने के भी संभावनाएं है। विशेष रूप से दक्षिण महासागर की मानसून प्रवाह के ऊपर प्रभाव का अध्ययन करने की आवश्यकता है। हम इससे 10 साल 20 साल आगे की कर सकते हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री और जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री, हाल में गए प्रधानमंत्री आबे जी के निजी प्रयास से बंधे गए पृथ्वी विज्ञान मंत्रालय और मेरे संस्थान जामस्टेक की संबंधों को बढ़ाते हुए इस दिशा में और शोध करने की उम्मीद रखता हूं। अनुसंधान और इनोवेशन एक महान राष्ट्र की रीढ़ है और विशेष रूप से ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए जरूरी है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में शुरू किए गए उत्कृष्ट अवसरों को जारी रखते हुए मुझे लगता है कि निजी क्षेत्र को भी भागीदारी में जोड़ना चाहिए पूंजी के लिए। वैश्विक अनुसंधान सहयोग में मुझे उम्मीद है कि MOES, जामस्टेक, IIT और IIT जैसे प्रतिष्ठित केंद्रों के साथ चल रहे आदान प्रदान को बढ़ाते हुए क्षेत्रीय अनुसंधान केंद्रों के साथ भी अनुसंधान विनिमय की प्रयास की जानी चाहिए। मैं वसुधैव कुटुंबकम के दर्शन में चलते हुए एक मजबूत भारत की सहयोगियों की हिस्सा बनने की उम्मीद रखता हूं। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद बेहरा जी। अभी चलते हैं डॉक्टर सविता पावा, MD। Dr. Pava is a physician, scientist, and professor at the Department of Microbiology and Immunology and Pediatrics in Medicine at the University of Miami School of Medicine. Dr. Pava is a graduate of Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi, India. Professor Pava.
Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, Namaskar. My remarks pertain to HIV/AIDS, an infectious disease reaching age 40, but still without a cure or a vaccine, and an immense economic burden globally. My proposal is for India to establish 4 to 5 centers of excellence in HIV/AIDS and emerging infections, patterned partially after the NIH-sponsored US models such as the Centers for AIDS Research. The proposed centers do not require new buildings, just innovative thinking and strategic planning to amass a pool of talent and a solid infrastructure of core resources to facilitate clinical, social, and basic sciences research. 3 coordinated key goals are proposed. Goal 1 is to develop achievable research objectives and outcome measures of productivity, including success in research grants. Here, clinical trials in the intersecting HIV and COVID epidemics can stimulate novel research. Goal 2 is to focus on building the next generation of leaders by investing in one of India's greatest resources, its youth, through innovation in mentorship, exchange programs, pilot grants, and core resources, coupled with defined barometers of success. Goal 3 is to respond effectively to achieve India's goal to end HIV/AIDS by year 2030. Strongly focused biomedical prevention and implementation sciences research will be required to prevent new infections from occurring. An example is an integrated test and treat approach and expanded pre-exposure prophylaxis. I believe the time is ripe for further international collaboration and public-private partnerships to target HIV/AIDS, COVID, and HIV-associated infections like TB in India. Bahut dhanyavad for this honor, and I am available to serve in any capacity feasible. Thank you.
Bahut dhanyavad, Professor Pava. We now move to Professor N.L. Vijay Kumar from Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he has joined as a professor at the Federal University of Sao Paulo. Professor Vijay Kumar's research activities are related to blockchain as well as several areas related to computer science. Professor Vijay Kumar. Professor Vijay Kumar. Please go ahead, Professor Vijay Kumar.
Okay, sorry, there was an interruption. Mr. Prime Minister, this is a wonderful and fantastic opportunity for promoting and fostering the interaction between the Indian diaspora and the Indian scientific research institutions. Interactions such as these in research are quite important to foster knowledge sharing and exchange of researchers and especially students. But what we have to keep in mind, we have to solve real-world problems to bring welfare and well-being to the society. Funding in research comes mostly from the government bodies, especially probably in India and definitely in Brazil. So we have as a duty to bring back whatever it is possible solutions to improve the quality of lives of our societies. I am from the field of computer science and I see several avenues between Brazil and India to be explored. I will mention a few examples what we really need to develop together. Food security, genetic engineering, microbiology, development of smart cities with applying IoT, mitigate global warming by improving models for forecasting climate, control deforestation, control forest fires and emit alerts and take appropriate actions to mitigate them. For example, we can develop a basic and ad hoc and temporary infrastructure. If there is a village or a city under stress or a disease or a natural disaster, we can set up a basic infrastructure with a network and everything so that the government take immediate actions. We can also develop models to forecast the spread of a disease such as COVID-19 and also estimate the underreporting so that the government has realistic numbers of such diseases. Okay, these are just few examples, and what I feel that most of the applications have as a common denominator the area of computer science. We can apply computational intelligence methods and models involving machine learning, deep learning, and operations research to solve several issues. I thank you very much for the opportunity. I am here to help in any way I can to foster this cooperation. It is a privilege for me to participate in this event. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Professor Vijay Kumar. We now have Ron Ranbir Singh Gupta, who graduated from IIT Kharagpur in 1970. Several decades later, he helped set up the Ranbir and Chitra Gupta School of Infrastructure in his alma mater. Not only that, he and his wife have contributed in setting up educational infrastructure in Shamli and Samalka. Dr. Gupta.
Namaste, Honorable Prime Minister Ji. IIT खड़गपुर का मोटो था योगा कर्मसु कौशलम. matlab excellence in work. Good evening, Dr. Raghavan, Dr. Ranjana from DRDO, Dr. Reddy, Dr. Goswami, Dr. Tiwari, and other friends in India. I'm honored to be here in your virtual August company and pleased to offer my viewpoints. I'm from a small village in Haryana and then went to IIT Kharagpur. Now my family and I live in Washington, D.C. I have two basic points of view. One on infrastructure development in India. India has a robust economy and it's growing at a phenomenal rate. But this rate of growth can be increased exponentially if you're able to develop large-scale infrastructure projects such as transportation systems, electrical power systems, utility trash treatment, trash handling, and telecom infrastructure in a more expeditious, cost-effective, and quality manner. India has done well. Infrastructure has done well, but we need to train our own architects, engineers, and managers to be able to deliver these expeditiously in a quality manner. I had an opportunity to help start such a school at my alma mater in IIT Kharagpur, but we need many more of those schools, such schools around India with full support and promotion from the government of India. And secondly, very briefly, is my point on rural development. My native state, Haryana, and states like Gujarat have done remarkably well in this area. And I urge the government of India to replicate these successful models in the rest of India. I truly appreciate this opportunity to speak, and namaste.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, हमारे अगला स्पीकर प्रोफेसर हरीश भास्करन है, ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रोफेसर हैं। वो कहते हैं उनकी प्रथम रुचि क्रिकेट में है और साइड में नैनो मटेरियल्स और नैनो इंजीनियरिंग में काम करते हैं। Harish Bhaskaran is a professor at Oxford University and his work features data storage devices that use both electrical and light signals, making them super fast. Professor Bhaskaran.
Vanakkam, Prime Minister. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. As you well know, we cannot predict the economic needs of tomorrow precisely. But broadly, I think it is a very safe bet to say that we need new materials and new ways to use them for whatever economic need we have in the future. No one thought that graphene or carbon nanotubes, you may have heard of them, when they were invented, would be used in lightweight aeroplanes or cars. But they're now being used there. Similarly, the lithium-ion battery, when it was invented, no one thought it would be used to power electric cars in the future. But that's where it's being used now. And the lesson we learn from it is having a technology and the knowledge base will always help us to take advantage of it when we need, and we don't know when we need that knowledge base. Now, my research is in advanced photonic computing. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to do machine learning and artificial intelligence on a chip, but using light instead of electricity. Even 10 years ago, we thought it was not possible. But we managed to build upon a knowledge base that many people, many of my collaborators built over many years. In fact, I would say that we don't even know if it's possible in the future. We may find out it's not possible even after all this research. That is simply what research is. But the knowledge we create in the process may end up being used for some other application that I haven't thought of by some really bright mind in India who's probably in school today. And that can only happen when we collaborate closely with people across the world. India is very fortunate. Its technical institutes and universities, I'm a product of them, are fiercely independent, and rightly so. But in addition, what is key to a sustainable science base is strong collaborations among scientists. It's a bit like IPL cricket. As you know, I'm a cricket fan. IPL cricket may be very fun with only Indian players, but it certainly won't be as much fun to watch, and it won't have the quality it has right now if foreign cricketers and Indian cricketers were not playing together collaboratively in a team. If you just had foreign coaches, it wouldn't have the same quality. Science is exactly the same. To have a world-beating team, you have to work as a team together. And that also builds trust amongst collaborators. And so the scientific base in India will have more trust when you work collaboratively with each other, not as advisors, not on committees, but working together. That is a model that China has been extremely successful over the last 15 years. And most people think that China has built its scientific base on its own, but they've been very good at collaborating across the world and leapfrogging the world in terms of building up its scientific base. And I would love to see India do that in future. And I would love to play a role in helping India reach that goal. Because I believe that Indian science and technology deserves international impact. And for that, we have to know how that is being built within India through collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now have Professor Sriram Ramakrishna joining us from Singapore. He's a professor at the National University of Singapore and works on how nanofibers can neutralize chemical warfare agents such as nerve gas and mustard gas much more effectively. Professor Sriram Ramakrishna.
नमस्कार पीएम जी, आपको मिलके हमको बहुत अच्छा लगा है. 40 years later, I'm speaking Hindi. Please forgive me. With your permission, I switch to English. We applaud you for encouraging this VAIBHAV Summit. A perfect start on the occasion of 150th Gandhi Jayanti. An important question on the minds of many is how to carry forward the spirit of Mahatma and make India prominent. Two observations come to mind. India provided thought leadership to the world over the past 5,000 years. In the 21st century, India will be among the top 3 countries of the world in economic importance. Hence, there is immense expectation on India to proactively champion the sustainable development-led economic engine, providing the 1.4 billion people of India and 7+ billion people of the world with the new thought leadership and economic opportunities. Observation 2. According to an estimate, there are more than 10 million researchers worldwide. 1 in 5 is an Indian. 70 of them are overseas. Collaboration between researchers in India and overseas is critically important, but embryonic. Based on those 2 observations, here are my 2 recommendations to ensure prosperity and well-being of all. My recommendation 1, align policies and incentives to the economic growth powered by low-carbon products and services enabled by low-carbon materials, energy, and digital technologies. My recommendation 2, policy signal to track number of internationally co-authored journal papers in the annual ratings of higher education institutions in India. This allows an incentive for a larger, much more expedient collaboration between Indian researchers and researchers overseas. That would bring enormous attention to India, at the same time accelerate research culture in India. In the management language, we say, you get what you measure. If I may say, in Gandhian language, our actions express our priorities. Thank you so much, Prime Minister Ji.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Professor Solomon Darwin, a globally recognized expert on smart villages. He is Executive Director at the Haas School of Business at the University of California at Berkeley. Professor Darwin.
Yes, dear Honorable Prime Minister, it's so glad to be here today. It's an honor to share with you how UC Berkeley can partner with your administration to move India forward. I'm also honored to be in the presence of so many distinguished groups of people representing fine institutions around the world. I'm desirous to engage with them offline to find ways of collaboration to take our country forward. I represent a great university here in the Silicon Valley with many prominent Indian faculty, scientists, and experts across all disciplines. Many of us are passionate about making India prosperous. Being seated here in Silicon Valley, Berkeley is known for technological innovations and business development of scalable and sustainable models that promote growth. This is what we can bring to the table. A few weeks ago, UC Berkeley brought together 38 CEOs representing many global brands for a single purpose of taking India forward through collaborations across industries. These meetings were held over 3 days, chaired by Mr. Amitabh Kant, representing the government, and Mr. Sunil Munjal, representing the industry. The meeting was attended by key CEOs from India and the United States. There was much energy in the room to create a win-win collaboration. Since then, we compiled a white paper on how to take India forward and for road mapping. Your administration has in place many great initiatives to create value for our people. Berkeley would like to lend our innovation engine and knowledge base to further optimize this enormous work that you have already done. We like to partner to resolve the issues of gap that exists in the system to accelerate the economic growth in India. As an agnostic, non-commercial organization, we focus on research and can help a lot of data-rich reports to be analyzed and that have already been prepared, and to do comparative analysis with sharp recommendations. My institutions at UC Berkeley excels in knowledge creation and evidence-based research, and recently our survey has identified 3 initiatives to promote growth. The first one is to establish India as a major manufacturing hub for diversified global supply chains. This is one reason why the 38 companies came together to meet. And we all met because of COVID-19, and I think it kind of forced us to come together for survival. The second initiative is develop digital infrastructure for early and secondary education for skill development for the 600 million youth in India, to leverage digital platforms to deliver holistic education. This is already being done by many companies, but convergence and streamlining is much more important to derive the value and to capture the value. The last one here, number 3, is build ecosystems in key sectors to mitigate pandemic risk in the area of digital health, create transparent agricultural platforms, and deepen financial inclusion. When you were here in the Silicon Valley a few years ago, I was teaching the first Smart Cities course at UC Berkeley. In 2015, my students were invited by administration to work on frameworks for 3 smart cities in India, Ajmer, Allahabad, and Visakhapatnam, under the US-India 3 Agreement Pact under President Obama. We even visited your gift city as students, and we learned many things. Our studies have shown that smart cities cannot be sustained without rural villages. For this reason, in 2016, Berkeley started the Smart Village movement. To make villages smart with very little investment is needed to instill the digital infrastructure. This empowers majority of our people in India to create value for themselves. So work is underway in Andhra, Arunachal, and Meghalaya with those chief ministers. We are working with over 40 global brands and startups to create scalable and sustainable villages as a source of smart cities. With that, I close my comments, and I'm looking forward to working with your administration. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dhawan. We now have Professor S.R. Srinivasavardhan, who is a legend in the field of mathematical sciences. He's one of the greatest living mathematicians today. He's an alumnus of the University of Madras and the Indian Statistical Institute, a recipient of top honors in the field, which include the Burkhoff Prize, the Steele Prize, and the Abel Prize. He's a recipient also of the Padma Bhushan. Professor Srinivasavardhan.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Modi ji, Namaste. Organizers of the VAIBHAV Summit, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. Innovation in science and technology has become important for economic development. Innovation is based on research, especially research in applied sciences. Most governments prefer to support research in applied areas because it's more likely to provide immediate benefits. Basic research is the seed from which applied research grows. Better understanding of the fundamentals provides a clue as to what may be technologically feasible. Even abstract and advanced areas of mathematics can play a role. Cryptography and quantum computing, for example. It's therefore vital for progress in technology that we have a strong base in basic sciences. Since most of the research at the cutting edge is interdisciplinary, the curriculum must be broad. Schools, colleges, and universities should have adequate resources and manpower to provide excellent instruction in broad areas. I believe the government has created a few excellent institutions towards this goal. Our student body is huge, but only a small number at the moment are able to take advantage of what is available. State governments are generally responsible for education, and they can do much more to improve the curriculum and enhance the quality of the education they provide. At the highest level, exchange programs with selected institutions abroad can pave the way for initiating activity in areas that have not taken root. Thank you. Prime Minister, Namaste.
Thank you very much, Professor Vardhan. We now go to Professor Kamalakannan Seralathan, who is at the Jeobuk National University, South Korea, from where he is an associate professor and an alumnus of the University of Madras. His research focuses on areas such as plant and soil sciences. Professor Kamalakannan Seralathan.
Vanakkam and Namaste, Honorable Prime Minister. And thank you for making this wonderful platform to share our thoughts. Sir, I have two recommendations. One of my recommendations is to improve the academic level in India. So like initiating a joint degree program for with the foreign universities, either for undergraduate or postgraduate programs. Sir, in Korea, I have seen students from different countries. They are visiting Korea for the joint degree program. I have not noticed any Indian students in my university or nearby university for the joint degree program. It is a wonderful opportunity for the students, especially technical students, to get exposed with advanced technology and instrumentation technique. So if possible, consider to initiate joint degree program with leading universities all over the world. And the second suggestion is regarding startup companies, especially encouraging the Indian professors to initiate startup companies based on the research output. But in Korea, most of the university professors, they have their own startup company to produce the products based on the research output. Universities are providing the platform and the government is giving some minor support to initiate the startup company. So if these kind of plans are initiated in India, I think it is a good opportunity for industrialization of our own products. Thank you, sir. And again, thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much. We now go to Dr. Archana Sharma, who is at CERN, Geneva. Archana Sharma is the pioneer of simulations on experimentation on wire chambers, resistive plate chambers, and micro-pattern gaseous detectors. Dr. Archana Sharma is an internationally recognized physicist for her experimental work on detectors for research in high-energy physics. She studied at Banaras Hindu University and Delhi University, and she is currently facilitating knowledge exchange and capacity building in the science and technology sector. Dr. Archana Sharma.
नमस्कार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद फॉर दिस ऑनर। भारतीय वैज्ञानिकों और छात्रों के साथ 2016 में आपसे बहुत उत्साहजनक मुलाकात हुई थी जिनीवा में, और वहीं से हम सोच पाए कि भारत में और क्या कर सकते हैं। I am an applied physicist, over 3 decades designing detectors at CERN, and my original concept and contribution has been a new technology in the CMS experiment at CERN. उसमें 70-80 theses आई हैं starting from 2009. इंडिया में मैंने एक लाइफ लैब फाउंडेशन फॉर एजुकेशन एंड रिसर्च फाउंड किया है for meaningful impact in the field of STEM, experimentation and training. आज तक 20,000 students, 100 teachers और 750 schools और undergraduate students have been impacted, और वहाँ से हम placements भी करते हैं to bring them to CERN, of course funded by their own institutions, क्योंकि ये idea बहुत आजकल awareness हो रही है कि we need this kind of exposure. The international exposure is very important and it must be included in the curriculum. Fundamental curiosity-driven research is essential to investment to drive technological innovations. And जो mega projects हम कर रहे हैं CERN में, Europe as such is a world leader. And it's also exploiting these technologies for its citizens. The best example is WWW, जो कि CERN में बना था. किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि हम क्यों बना रहे हैं. It was just a spin-off of research, and nobody could imagine the economic impact, which now is in trillions of dollars. India must continue to partner and build towards a leadership in future projects. और वो ऐसे ही हो सकता है कि जब हम ये सारे projects में participation को leverage करें to building a unique program of high national priority in the country. And the goal, of course, has to be improving the quality of life of Indian citizens, generate employability, employment, and sustained economic growth. Collaboration in scientific research permits developing skills and capacity along with industry. Or economic, Europe में 17% of the economy is coming from physics, जिसमें कि particle physics काफी आगे है. In India, a known unknown is cancer. With the cancer burden being the highest in South Asia, a dedicated center for cancer therapy on Indian soil at the NCI Institute in Jhajjar is a very pressing need, and this can be a greenfield project जो कि सारे मेगा साइंस टेक्नोलॉजीज को एक तरह से बांध सकता है with a very massive social and economic impact. There is no such facility in South Asia except a purchased machine in Apollo Chennai, और आम आदमी तो उसको अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता है. With due diligence, sir, India can take leadership in the region for biomedical research and revolutionary treatments with the technological IP that we can bring from mega science projects. Similarly, a 4th generation synchrotron light source would be an imperative for our scientific community. हम लोग हमेशा बाहर जाते हैं काम करने के लिए और बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, and we have a very thriving research community in that region. And we know that Brazil and South Africa own and operate such facilities. So we would like, my humble recommendation would be to bring all this experience all around in the mega science projects towards making these kind of projects in the country. Important to note is that we have the competence in the country. within the scientists, within the researchers, what we need to do is to sharpen and articulate the goals and deliverables from the mega science projects aligned with these national priorities. मैं अपनी कंट्री के लिए हमेशा तैयार हूँ कुछ भी करने के लिए और करती रहूंगी. जय हिंद.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर अर्चना शर्मा. Our last panelist today is Professor V.V. Venkat Shastri from the United Kingdom. He's a mathematician and scientific computing expert from IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur, and the Indian Institute of Science. He is currently at Cranfield University studying the mathematics and of derivative-free algorithms. Professor Shastri.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Prime Minister and distinguished members of the panel, a very good afternoon from UK. May I first congratulate the government in conceiving the idea of VAIBHAV and taking the initiative to re-establish India as a research powerhouse of world reputation. I also would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. I am truly humbled and honored to be among the luminaries here today. Some of them are my teachers in the distance. After finishing my PhD in applied mathematics at IISc Bangalore, I followed the quote, time-honored route of postdoctoral fellowship abroad, unquote. I always found Europe had a rich heritage in the field of applied mathematics and was fortunate to have found relevant opportunities in UK. Working in an academic university in UK has provided me with unique perspectives on higher education in India and enabled us to constructively engage with several educational establishments in India, both in private and public sector. So we have established double degree programs, for example, with VIT, DIIT, Manipal Institute. There are several others to follow that way. And we are hoping that the new educational policy will open up opportunities for innovative programs in the very near future. More recently, I have delivered an online 10-hour module due to COVID-19 situation on the topic of financial fraud analytics to students at ISB, Hyderabad. I personally feel that we are living in interesting times with huge opportunities in several fields of science and technology. The range of verticals identified in VAIBHAV is a testimony. Some of these topics are multidisciplinary in nature and naturally lend themselves to collaborative research. Here is an opportunity for 18 aspiring Nobel laureates. Once in a lifetime opportunity for the younger generation to take up the challenge. I do hope that the deliberations from this summit will lead to creating a conducive environment to address these challenges and to architect a sustainable framework. I am happy to serve in any capacity to fulfill this dream. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all our panelists for their interventions today. We now have the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Pradhan Mantri ji.
Namaskar. Greetings and gratitude to you all for joining this conversation. This forum has got together distinguished talent, both Pravasi and Indian. Vaishwik Bharatiya Vaigyanik Summit 2020 celebrates science and innovation from India and the world. I would call it a true Sangam or confluence of great minds Through this gathering, we seek to form a long-lasting association for empowering India and our planet. Friends, I would like to thank the scientists who offered their comments, suggestions, and ideas today. You have brilliantly covered many subjects in your interventions. Most of you highlighted the importance of greater collaboration between Indian academic and research ecosystem with their foreign counterparts. Indeed, that is the fundamental aim of this summit. You correctly point towards the need of driving scientific research towards the needs of the society. You also made some good suggestions for improving the research ecosystem in India. I would like to thank all of you for your views. Listening to your words, I could see that this VAIBHAV Summit is going to be a rich and productive exchange. Friends, science has remained at the core of the progress of humankind. When we look back at the centuries of human existence, how do we divide the time periods? Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, Industrial Age, Space Age, Digital Age. These are some of the terms used. Clearly, each phase has been shaped by some significant technological advance. Changes in technology have brought changes in our lifestyles. It also increased scientific curiosity. Friends, the government of India has taken numerous measures to boost science, research, and innovation. Science is at the core of our efforts toward socio-economic change. We broke inertia in the system. The long break in vaccine introduction was broken. In 2014, 4 new vaccines were introduced into our immunization program. This included an indigenously developed rotavirus vaccine. We encourage indigenous vaccine production also. Recently, we also gave market authorization for an indigenously developed pneumococcal vaccine. These vaccination program and our Poshan mission take the health and nutrition of our children to the level of importance it deserves. Our vaccine developers are active and globally competitive during this pandemic. We understand that time is of the essence. We have launched an ambitious mission to remove TB in India by 2025. This is 5 years before the global target. Friends, there are other ongoing efforts as well. We have launched major missions on supercomputing and on cyber physical systems. These have expanded on fundamental research and application in areas such as artificial intelligence, robotics, sensors, and big data analytics. This will provide a great boost to Indian manufacturing. It will help create skilled young human resources. The startup sector will prosper. 25 technology innovation hubs have already been launched under the mission. Friends, we want top-class scientific research to help our farmers. Our agriculture research scientists have worked hard to ramp up our production of pulses. Today, we import only a very small fraction of our pulses. Our food grain production has hit a record high. Friends, recently, India got a national education policy. After over 3 decades, India has such a policy. The making of this policy involved widespread consultation for several months. This national education policy, Rashtriya Shiksha Niti, aims to boost curiosity towards science. It gives much needed boost to research and innovation. I am particularly optimistic about the focus on multidisciplinary studies. The open and broad-based academic environment will nurture young talent. Today, India is also a major contributor and partner in various scientific research and development efforts at the global level. Some of these are Laser Interferometer Gravitation Wave Observatory, LIGO, approved in February 2016, European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, CERN, where India has been an associate member since January 2017, and International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, ITER. For this supporting research is being carried out in my home state Gujarat at the Institute of Plasma Research. Friends, the need of the hour is to ensure more youngsters develop interest in science. For that, we must get well versed with the science of history and the history of science. Over the last century, leading historical questions have been solved with the help of science. Scientific methods are now used in determining dates and helping in research. We also need to amplify the rich history of Indian science. Sadly, for long, many youngsters have been fed the lie that everything before modernity was superstition and dark ages. Today is the age of computers, programming, mobiles, and applications. But even there, what is at the base of all computing? It is binary code, 1 and 0. Friends, when one speaks of 0, how can one not speak of India? 0 made much of mathematics and commerce accessible to all. Our youth must know about Bodhayana, Bhaskara, Varamira, Nagarjuna, Susrut, and many others like Satyendranath Bose and C.V. Raman in the modern era. The list is long. Friends, inspired by our glorious past and powered by our achievements in the present, we are looking ahead with great hope. We are aiming to build a secure and prosperous future for the coming generations. India's clarion call of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India, includes a vision of global welfare. In order to realize this dream, I invite you all and seek your support. Just recently, India introduced pioneering space reforms. These reforms provide opportunities for both industry and academia. We are all aware of India's vibrant startup ecosystem. These advances would never be complete without the groundwork done by scientists, innovators, and academics. Our startup sector would gain from your mentorship. Friends, the Indian diaspora are excellent ambassadors of India at the world stage. Wherever they have gone, they have taken with them the ethos of India. They have also embraced the cultures of their new homes. The Indian diaspora has been successful in many fields. Academics is one shining example. Most of the top global universities and many of the top technological corporations in the world have benefited greatly from the presence of Indian talent. Through VAIBHAV, we present to you a great opportunity, an opportunity to connect and contribute. Your efforts will help India and the world. After all, when India prospers, the world also takes a leap ahead. These exchanges will certainly be useful. Your efforts will help create an ideal research ecosystem. It will merge tradition with modernity. It will make India provide homegrown solutions to the challenges we face. It will create prosperity for others. It will help India create disruptive technologies. Friends, we are meeting on the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. I am reminded of something that Gandhiji has said almost 100 years ago in 1925 while speaking at the Maharaja College, Thiruvananthapuram. He wanted the fruits of scientific progress to reach rural India, where most of our people live. Bapu also believed in broad-basing science. In 1929, he tried something unique. He tried crowdsourcing. He sought ways to design a lightweight spinning wheel. His care for the villagers, the youth, the poor, and his vision to integrate the larger public with science inspire us. Today, we remember another proud son of India on his Jayanti, our former PM, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji. We remember his humility, simplicity, and great leadership. Friends, I wish you all the best of your discussions and assure that we will work to make VAIBHAV and its outcomes a grand success. Before ending, I advise all of you to take full care of your health, to take all precautions and to remain safe. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradhan Mantri ji, and thank you everybody for being here today at the inauguration of the VAIBHAV Summit. We look forward to a month of deliberations and concluding on Sardar Patel Jayanti. Thank you very much.